You're listening to the Game Tenants Podcast.
What's up, and welcome to the Game Tenants Podcast, the failed adventures of two gamers and the quest for Gamecast stardom. This is episode 67, and I am Church of the Game Grinder, and not as always, but it will be as always on the next episode, welcoming back a previous podcast co-host,
Jason from Corpseful Gaming. How's it going, guys?
What's up?
Good
Welcome
to be
back.
I have missed this entirely.
Yes. In case anybody didn't listen to the last episode, Justin had to step down as co-host. Life's just getting a little busy for him. He's working 2 jobs and trying to save up some extra money for school. So free time is limited, much as it was for you when you stepped down. But it looks like you've freed up a little free time.
Yeah, we got a better schedule going. I'm still crazy busy, but I've kind of found a system that works. The baby's a bit older now, so not as needy. So, yeah, I've got a bit more free time, and this is how I choose to spend it. I like it.
Awesome.
Obviously, playing some games, too, is on the top of the list.
Totally. So I guess for anybody who might not be familiar, because I know we do have some new listeners that have started listening in the last few months. For those who might not be familiar with who Jason of Corpse Flood Gaming is, who is Jason of Corpse Flood Gaming?
I'm pretty much nobody, and I don't think that you should, but I've got a small channel. I do as many videos as I can. It's been quite a while once again, but I like to do unboxing videos and stuff with my daughter of our retro game treasures and stuff like that. I do a couple other things, but as stated, I'm a pretty busy guy, so I kind of just do that at my own pace now. I don't try to pretend I'm going to be doing a weekly video or 2 a week or anything like that. I've kind of come to terms with it.
Sure. Yep.
Basically, why I had to step away from the podcast originally was just too much on my plate. It was either talking about games or actually getting to play games, and I chose actually getting to play games.
Yes, good choice.
That's why we all here for our love of video games. But that being said, I still plan to work on videos. It just kind of when I have the time.
Yeah.
So it's I got some in the works, but they're not top priority like they were before.
Sure.
So,
And yeah, if anybody watches any of my videos, I give Jason shout outs. And he was up until I think it was June.
yeah, June. Right before
last
E3. E3.
Yeah.
E3.
Your co-host for it was about a year.
Yeah,
I think
a little over a year. I think. Yeah.
Yeah, somewhere around there. So yeah, you can always go back and listen to those episodes if you are so inclined.
I highly recommend it.
Yes. Yeah. So let's jump into things. So
All right.
let's see how you can handle this.
You bet I can handle this. A little light on the news around now. I don't know why, but everything seems to be about Resident Evil. And Church and I are all about Resident Evil, so we'll be talking about that a bunch. A couple other smaller topics, Nintendo related. I'm not as hateful to Nintendo as Justin, but I do have some gripes with them as well.
Totally.
So, time to time, I will also say fuck Nintendo, but for now, I'm not particularly angry at this moment. But yeah.
Cool.
So with all that being said, What the hell have you been up to, man?
I have been playing the crap out of Resident Evil,
What?
just like everybody else. I know, it's crazy. It's crazy.
That's
I
already.
mean,
Oh shit.
yeah. Kind of the usual for me. Life is good. Playing lots of video games. Put out some videos. I finally, almost all the way through January, but put out the first part of the games I finished in 2018 video, which I really enjoyed doing that for 2017. Basically, a video talking about all the games I played, just like quick little 1-2 minute reviews.
Mm-hmm.
So hopefully I'll get the other part of that out next week.
Yeah, let's get it going. I like part 1. Don't leave me hanging.
Yeah, for sure. And then I also put out a everybody's favorite video series of all time, of all the internets, is an unboxing video for the Resident Evil 2. Well, yeah. It's funny because I see so often people on Twitter or Facebook just ragging on unboxing videos. It's I don't blame them, but I'm gonna make what the fuck ever I want to make.
You do you.
Exactly. But besides those 2 videos, I've been gaming, still playing Beat Saber. It's almost like every other day I play Beat Saber. It's because you play the way I play, because I'm doing expert levels and trying to do some leaderboard stuff. It gets pretty intense, so
skills.
Yeah, I get a little sore. So I give it a day in between sessions to kind of recoup.
Yeah. I mean, it's either that or get a Bowflex that takes up a bunch of space in the game room and collects dust.
Right. I think at this point I might be giving up on doing leaderboard stuff, because I pretty much got to what seems like my skill cap. I cannot do better. And now it seems as time's passing, there's just people there. I'm getting bumped. So that's, is what it is. I had my few minutes of glory being ranked number 6 on the $100 bills song, and then on what's it, Rum and Punch, or I can't remember the name of the other song. I got number 9.
It's gin and juice, dude.
Yeah. So Beat Saber, still a lot of fun. Was playing a bunch of Spider-Man, and I put that on the back burner when Resident Evil came out, and I'm still playing through Resident Evil 2.
I think you should have put it on the afterburner and got through it before Resident Evil 2. But
I tried, but I didn't want to rush it.
No, savor that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm doing all the side stuff for the most part. I don't know. I heard a lot of people say that Spider-Man was their first game they platinumed, and I don't know if that entails getting perfect fights at all the warehouses and stuff, which I'm not doing.
No, you basically only need to get silver on all those, because it's more about having the points to buy the suits and the moves for the trophies. But what makes it even easier is you also get that shit in the add-on content. So I should send you a picture of how much I have left over after buying absolutely everything.
Yeah, because I was getting to the point where I've done pretty much all the side stuff that's available at this point. There's still two things that haven't unlocked as far as the bases, and I've done them all, and I'm pretty much at the point where I can't buy all the suits with base tokens. I can buy one suit, and then there's 3 or 4 that seriously I only need 6 to 8 points, but I don't want to go back and redo all those bases to get one extra token.
I never had to do one more than once, and as long as you kind of keep I would try to do one if it wasn't something way out of my wheelhouse of what I was using for moves.
Mm-hmm.
If there was do 10 swing kicks, I'd be oh, that's easy, I'll just do that right off the bat.
Yeah.
Before the tougher enemies come in. Basically, those things are for the wave 1 or 2, or do 5 silent takedowns.
Yeah.
I didn't go way out of my way to do any of them. I get maybe one. Sometimes I think once or twice I got both the extra things, but that's what I like about this one. It's not Arkham hard on you, where you have to be absolutely perfect.
Yes.
You're pretty good to go as long as you're decent at the game. It's not a get good set scenario. It's just basically silver medal is good enough, and I like that feeling of not having to start hating the game because you have to redo these annoying little challenges or speed things over and over again.
True that.
There's the speedball challenges are screwball is what I hated. The most annoying part about maybe having to restart one once in a while was her voice.
Her voice doesn't bother me that much. It's just sometimes time trial stuff. It's just,
I don't know. Wait till you get to the city that never sleeps part, and she's in all three parts of that.
Okay.
You might. We'll revisit this topic.
Sure. Yeah, and we'll definitely do a little bit more Spider-Man talk when I finish the game.
For sure. What other stuff have you been playing?
Yeah, but, and like I said, besides that, it's just been Resident Evil 2 Remake. So we'll talk a little bit more about Resident Evil. I think for anybody listening, what I think I'm going to start doing instead of trying to do like game reviews into like a what's up section, we're going to kind of nix that, just talk about games briefly, and then if we want to like spend any time on a game, we'll just kind of throw it into more of like the topic section. So we'll talk about some Resident Evil 2 here in a little bit. So it's been a while. So what have you been up to?
God damn, dude. I haven't slowed down any on collecting, and I've sped up more on actually playing.
Yeah.
So there is hope for me yet. Still can't keep up with the amount I'm buying, but I am definitely getting to delve into more lengthy games, cool shit like that. Recently I beat like a lot of the bigger stuff, like we just said, Spider-Man.
Mm-hmm.
That was my baby. I beat it, I think, 4 days after it came out.
Yeah.
Absolutely obsessed with it. And it was Spider-Man, which is something beloved throughout my whole household. So I actually beat the majority of it in my living room while my kids watched it like it was the greatest show in the world. Araya played a bit of it too. She loved it. She was just fine to swing around and find the Avengers building was basically her objective.
Sure.
But everyone was just right into the story, so much so that if I did a big story part and nobody saw it, I'd have to look it up later on YouTube so I could show them what happened. Get them all up to speed.
That's awesome.
I beat other stuff like Red Dead Redemption 2. That was pretty fun. What other stuff? Fallout 76, another big one.
Yep.
I was pretty much in the same boat as you on how my feelings were for it. I got a little more tired of it as it went on, though, like the constant and the prices for upkeeping stuff like just seemed ludicrous after a while, and it was like taking away from the enjoyment.
And you definitely it seemed like you encountered a lot more like actual like game issues than I did, especially towards the end.
Yeah, I was getting nothing forever. Then all of a sudden it was just like, oh yeah, froze up. All right. Cool. I didn't lose anything through doing that, but it was getting kind of tiresome.
Yeah.
I did play a lot of it in co-op with my friend, but I also did, I'd say 60-40. 40% of it I did on my own. For the most part, I enjoyed it. But,
would you for Fallout fans, what?
I don't know if I'd recommend it even.
It's $20. Would you recommend it?
Yeah, definitely. I wouldn't say pay $200 for the collector's edition and feel obligated to beat the shit out of this game. Like, I don't care if it's absolute garbage. I'm going to play it. But I definitely enjoyed it more than it was seeming that I was going to. Mm-hmm. I was right into it right away, but the things that held it back were things that are only a minor annoyance in other Fallout games. Like I mentioned, the upkeep.
Yeah.
And being over encumbered is like game ruining in this game. As soon as you
Constantly.
it's like 3/4 of the game, you're over encumbered.
Yeah.
Because you got stuff you don't want to drop and you want to put it in your stash. And then your stash is weight cap is only basically like double or triple what you can carry. And
What the hell is that?
it fills up way too fast. Like it was pretty bad. And things that just shouldn't have a weight, like bobbleheads.
Yeah.
Yeah, just pretty annoying. And yeah, just stuff. That's some of the things that really ruined it. Were just and the fact that you don't even get the stim pack recipe until you're on the second last main mission was just sad. Because that was half the time. Like my buddy or one of us was always low on stim packs. Like, oh, I've got like 2. Oh well. And there's like time like being so over encumbered that you're like, oh, I've got like 60 Radaway. I'll just drop a bunch of those because they're like half a pound each.
Yeah.
Or whatever. And then you'd be like, then later on, it's like way more important when you're going into the blast zones with your power armor.
Yep.
It was eating them up. And I was like, wow, remember that time I just for no reason took 30 Radaway for nothing? I wish I had some of those.
Yeah.
and then like finding out that like blood packs are a big part of making the stim packs. And you've been just leaving them because they have no importance whatsoever in the gameplay.
Well, they all heal health, so I always kept them.
Yeah, there was just about as much as food, so I just was like, well, whatever. I had a couple, but not as much as I would have been. I wasn't hoarding them, especially when I was like nearing my max. I would just leave them. I don't need those. Just like I was leaving water a lot of the time because I was like, I've got enough. So yeah. So for anyone starting out, hold on to blood packs.
Yeah.
But besides that, I liked the events. Teaming up was pretty fun. Griefing wasn't really bad.
Not at all. It's pretty much the PvP is like nobody PvPs. So there's no reason to really.
There's a couple times when you're like attacking a horde and someone will accidentally hit you, or you'll accidentally hit someone, and all of a sudden they're like you're wanted.
Yeah,
that's annoying. Or there's been a couple times where I didn't even realize like I was at someone's I don't know, I was breaking something one time and I didn't even realize, oh, that's part of someone's like base. So I became wanted for that.
Yeah.
So I got my friend to come kill me. Take the bounty on me, whatever. Yeah, so it was so there's some really enjoyable things and then there's some huge setbacks. It's a game that I think just needed to be, they should have not put it up for another 6 months. Like they should have pushed it back. That's a game that really needed to be pushed back.
Yeah.
And yeah, so when everyone gets bummed out that a game gets scrapped and restarted, such as Metroid Prime 4, remember, it could be Fallout 76. Would you rather hate a franchise you like or continue to like it possibly even more?
Yes.
There you go. Besides that, I've been playing a shit ton of VR, as have you. Just all over the place with the VR, though. I've been playing a little bit of everything, so I can't really touch too much on what exactly. I played that Tetris Effect.
Yes.
After Musty Hobbit and Chris the Old Ass Retro Gamer talked it up, I was like, I actually found it cheap at Walmart. It was like the only VR game they had. All of a sudden, they're just like not supporting the VR thing besides selling the headsets themselves, it seems now. At least at my local one. I'm sure the bigger ones are. But I was like, whatever. It was like $30 Canadian, so it's like 20 American. And I was like, hell yeah, I'll check it out for that. And yeah, I was actually pretty impressed. And just to report, I am still trash at Tetris. I'm good at it until it starts to speed up, then I'm just toast.
Sure.
Just when I start to get coggy, just, oh yeah, I got this. And then all of a sudden it speeds up like 2 speeds. I'm like, whoa. I was just kidding. Anyway.
I definitely need to get that.
Yeah, so that's I would recommend it, especially if you find it a bit cheaper. I've got some of the bigger ones I haven't got to try out yet, though. Like I got Astrobot a couple weeks ago. But I was really trying to get through 76 before Resident Evil came out. And then I squeezed in the Spider-Man add-ons. And yeah, that's about it. That's what I've been working on. Not so much YouTube stuff. Kind of been a bit of a resurgence of filming. We'll see how editing goes and see when that gets out.
Awesome.
And that's my way too lengthy what I've been up to. But pretty much it.
Cool. So then let's move into our retro game highlight. Last time was mentioned, Justin talked about Kid Icarus of Myth and Monsters for the Game Boy. What you got for us this week, Jason?
Actually, on Kid Icarus, I think that was my first time encountering Kid Icarus. A lot of people didn't seem to know that it existed.
Yeah, that was me.
Yeah, I just randomly, I think my friend had it, and I just was over at his house and popped it in my Game Boy one time. And I honestly didn't know there was a NES Kid Icarus, so complete opposite. There, and I thought it was pretty sweet, and I didn't hear about Kid Icarus again until like the 3DS game was coming out. But anyway, this week I have probably a decently well-known game anyway, but it's Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles: The Manhattan Project.
Yeah,
it's the third one of the NES trilogy, and in my opinion, the best. It's an excellent co-op game.
I can pretty much agree with you on that.
Yeah, my Araya and I have played through it together. I don't know. It's basically like as close to Turtles in Time as you're going to get on the NES.
Yep.
Being a huge fan of beat 'em ups, that's all I can ask for in the Turtles game. I always found the arcade game was harder on the NES than it was in the actual arcade, which was funny because the arcade is designed to take your money.
Yes.
I would kick ass at the arcade and then play the arcade game at my friends and suck ass at it. So, but whatever. But this one I find is excellent balance. Kind of a cool story. It's kind of like the Hyperstone Heist story a bit, but it's its own game. I can't say any of those overshadows the rest. I mean, Turtles in Time is probably the best one. All of them, but they're all games that you shouldn't miss. Like I wouldn't say play this one, don't play these ones.
For sure.
Yeah, but as a fan of beat 'em ups, I would say definitely check out Manhattan Project.
Yep,
especially with a friend.
That's actually one of the games that my brother had when we were kids. It was his game, so yeah, we used to play the crap out of it together. You know,
I love it. Yeah.
Actual like 2-player co-op beat 'em up.
Yeah,
nice.
And for an NES game, it's actually pretty fair. Yeah. Like it doesn't destroy you and make you start over.
It's a tough one. It is tough.
Yeah, you can get pretty far in it though. Like it's decent with continues. It's not like you get to the second level and starting over and you got to get like impossibly good at it right away. Like you can get pretty far. Like Araya and I, she's only 6 and I don't think we played it in a while. So she was probably like 4 or 5 when we played it. And we got pretty far the first couple times. And then we eventually beat it. So
and actually I don't know what happened. I think we traded it in like when we had the Super Nintendo, and I have yet to reacquire a copy of it.
Ooh, that might be an MGC goal this year.
Maybe.
Yeah, it's an excellent game, and it's not too expensive. I think it's the priciest of the 3 NES, but it's not like crazy right at this moment anyway.
Yeah, I don't think it is.
So yeah, definitely pick you up a copy if you can.
Yeah, for sure. So let's move into our, I guess, like news topics. We'll start out with the Wii Shop.
Yeah, so after 13 years, the Wii Shop is officially dead today as of recording.
Yep.
On January 30th. So rest in peace.
Yeah,
a lot of cool exclusive games were on it and stuff like that.
Yep, I think that's like one of the most disappointing things about it. there are some people I've seen some like random like posts online of people like, well, every game that's available on the Wii Shop has been downloaded and put online. Well, that's great and all, but where? I haven't seen these.
Well,
a lot
there's
of
also
people don't know about these.
a lot of those sites have been taken down too.
Yeah. So
it's really unfortunate, but that's why we collect physical, right?
yep.
Because at some point, you're gonna not be able to download your Xbox 360 or PS3 download only titles. There's already something you can get, especially with licensing issues like Scott Pilgrim.
Scott Pilgrim, yeah.
Yeah, it's the unfortunate part of the digital. They don't like to bring that part up. Like, hey, they're yours forever as long as your system doesn't fail and you got a good hard drive.
Well, why would anybody want to play those old games? I think that's what the Sony CEO said or whatever.
Yeah, of course. Why would you want to?
Despite the fact that they're constantly like remastering and putting out collections and stuff. It's like, oh, no.
No, why would we want to play that?
Fucking idiot.
The same guy should be advertising those games too.
Yeah.
I don't know. Why should we play that game? Should we just not buy that? Oh, no, please do. Well, but why?
Yeah. And I think really the Wii Shop was effectively dead like last year because they made it where you could still access it, but you couldn't add any more funds to it. So it was basically like they gave like everybody a year to spend what they had, and this was the cutoff for that. So
they did a bit of good guy Nintendo stuff there. I mean, there's, as far as I know, I've got any of the important updates for games that I needed. Like Skyward Sword was a big one, where it had one where it's not like a game breaking glitch, but there's a way to like screw up your game if you did something out of order. Like if you did one dungeon before another one, you could potentially fuck yourself over. And the reason I got a Wii was because of Skyward Sword. I actually bought it for my wife because she was big into Zelda, and I was like, yeah, well, why don't we get this one? My friend had a hacked one. And so the first thing we did was put in Zelda that I got with it for Christmas, and they actually did kind of a good guy Nintendo thing. There was this thing that comes up and goes, oh, by the way, if you have a hacked system, this will brick it. I'm like, wow, what considerate people to complete assholes. By the way, if you're stealing like hundreds, possibly thousands of dollars of free stuff from us, just a shout out, you might not want to put this update on your system. Just like, wow, okay. But I was also very pissed off because that meant I could play this game that I just actually bought. Damn it, I can still play all those other ones, but I can't play the reason I bought the system. Wow. So my brother was pretty cool. He wasn't playing his Wii much and let me borrow it. I guess indefinitely because I still have it.
Nice.
So I think I owe him some games. But he's my little brother, so he's had access to my games his whole life. So
yeah,
we'll call it fair.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a bit of a shame, but yeah, like I said, that's why we collect physical media and poo-poo on digital stuff.
Yep.
And sometimes it's unavoidable, but sometimes holding out pays off, like Hellblade. Where I refused to play it until it was physical, and I'm like, it's so big right now, they're gonna get a physical release, and they did. So hell yeah, but I still have to play it. But yeah, I will say.
Totally. Yeah, so let's talk about some Resident Evil 2 remake.
Right. Oh, remake shit. Yeah. Well, you go first. How do you think what are your thoughts compared to the original and stuff?
I think it is awesome. Super awesome. Yeah, this is I think this again I think we've been getting really fortunate these last couple of years with remakes. I think this is another one of those remakes. Is like this is how you do a remake.
Because they actually remade it. They didn't just polish it. That's the difference between remake and remastered. A lot of people kind of put those together. Like all we're in is these remakes. You're like, that's a port with optimized graphics, but okay.
Yeah, I think when people would say what's different, so it's a remake, so what's different? And really, like that's what kind of my biggest takeaway is. Like, it's essentially the same game, but everything is different. Like
the plot points are kind of, they go together, like they snap into place the same way, but
and a lot of like the main notable locations and certain sections of like the police department, like those are still there, but everything's like visually different. The police department's kind of laid out differently now.
Yeah, a little tweaked out. Well, I mean, the people that played the other one to death, you don't want them to be like, well, that was a cool 3 hours. I ran through it because everything's in the same exact spot.
But I mean, even from the get-go, I thought it was interesting that they don't have you like kind of run through the streets and through the back alley and go through the gun shop like you did in the original game. Instead, you're like almost like bam, right in the police station.
Yeah, you're like a block away.
But then, like it's later on in the game that they send you out into those same like kind of street areas, which is so it's a lot of stuff like that where it's all there, but it's mixed up. I mean, the game I think looks fantastic.
Oh yeah, it's beautiful.
Yeah,
I was like, I really wanted to show my wife. She came down the other night while I was playing it, but she's someone who loves zombies, but not before bed. So it was right after I actually just finished doing Chris the Old Ass Retro Gamers the movie is starting podcast, and I was just getting back to my game, and I wanted to be like, look at this, and just pop a couple heads or something, and see some zombies. But I was like, nah, I don't want to. Yeah, she loves, like I said, she loves that kind of stuff, but she'll have shitty dreams. So
sure,
it's not rather not have her be mad at me because she's tired the next day.
Yeah. As far as like characters, I think the kind of like the updated versions, I'm fine with. At first I was a little like iffy, especially about Claire, because Claire is my favorite Resident Evil character. And I really, really liked, like, the original Claire kind of stuck around for a while, so they were kind of like reinventing her, mostly the same, different voice actress and whatnot. But I'm pretty happy. Like I said, I'm very bummed out that Allison Court isn't included as a voice actor, but they dropped her. She was in everything Resident Evil that had Claire, Resident Evil 2, Code Veronica, the movies, the Degeneration, whatever. They dropped her, and she was in like Dark Side Chronicles, I think, and one of the other like side games, but they dropped Allison Court for Revelations 2 because there was the voice actor strike going on, and Capcom decided, well, we could kind of adhere to this we could kind of like, I don't know, accept what's going on in the strike, and we can stick with union actors because we support unions and worker rights. But they're like, fuck that, we're gonna get a scab, and they got a new voice actress, which
they did. It's really unfortunate. That'd be like if they got someone else to play Duke Nukem out of nowhere, because, well, I mean, for the movie I guess they are, but
and a lot of people would say, some people would say that I shouldn't really complain too much, because that was really like one of the only voice actors for the entire series that stuck around so much. Like Leon had like 3 different voice actors, Chris had different voice actors. Like,
well, yeah, but there's certain people that are like known for their role, and there's certain people that their role actually matters. When you switch up like really iconic roles, like main characters from games, sometimes someone can do a good impersonation of it. Sometimes it's just like you can tell, you're like, oh, it's someone different. Like one of the biggest ones that always irked me was when they switched up Optimus Prime's voice.
Sure.
Yeah, I hated it. I couldn't even get into the shows when they didn't have Peter Cullen playing Optimus Prime. So I was glad when he came back for the movies, but then the movies were the movies. So there's a bit of a give and take there.
Yep.
But yeah, like there's just certain people you don't want to change their voice, but it is what it is, I guess. But
yeah,
I think she's doing a fine job.
Yeah, great job. One meme that I've of many memes to come from the remake, since it's a lot of people's kind of like first time experiencing the game and the story. But there's a meme that says, it's more, you kind of have to know this. It's kind of
jokey.
But it's you'll never have somebody who smiles at you like Claire smiles at Leon, which I thought was really funny. So if you've played through the Claire campaign, there's a couple times where she sees Leon and she just has this big, stupid like grin on her face, and it's like super cute, and it's funny, but she's just like super psyched to see Leon. Like it's like, okay, cool. She's like super bro.
You're looking for your brother, but you're happy to see Leon.
And then like gameplay is rock solid.
Oh yeah, I'm big on it. Yeah, a lot of people are kind of hoping that there was a way to like switch to the old style of everything. Pretty much, some people just want to play the old one again.
Yeah,
some people are just hoping there was a remaster.
Yeah,
you want a remaster? Play the GameCube version, which was up until now, a lot of people consider it the definitive one. Between that and Dreamcast, yeah, just do that. And if you want a true remake, then play this one.
Yeah, and they like, I find combat like it's interesting because you can do kind of you approach it in different ways. You can try to avoid enemies.
I find they're harder to avoid in this one than the older ones.
A lot of the tight hallways.
Yeah,
definitely. There's like certain rooms where it's like, okay, I can just kind of kite them around some desks and whatnot.
Yeah, like the offices and stuff are pretty easy.
And I've seen some people complain that there's too much RNG because the zombies, they're very random in like how many like headshots.
Oh man, sometimes twice and their head explodes. Sometimes 4 and they haven't even gone down yet.
Yeah, like
4 right to the middle of the face.
And
and then they get up after like 10 seconds. Sometimes you're like, bruh, you're aware there's only limited ammo in this game, right?
Yeah, but what's funny is like for me, so at this point I played Claire first. I played through her campaign, and I'm at the end of Leon's second playthrough. And so throughout Claire's campaign, like for the most part, I killed most enemies, and there's points like early, and then there's kind of like a midpoint in the game where I got like really low on ammo, but I never actually ran out of ammo. And by the end of the game, in Claire's playthrough anyways, like I pretty much had like a small arsenal. Like I had tons of handgun bullets, like, and that was just on standard. Yeah, I didn't do hardcore, which I don't know if they give you less ammo in hardcore.
I'm sure they do, and everything takes more hits.
But, I didn't have any problems taking out zombies. I pretty much only went for headshots. I've heard a lot of people are actually shooting them in the legs and then avoid them, because if you shoot them in the legs, they'll fall down and start crawling around. And especially in this, like, they're way easy to get by when they're crawling around, where the original, like, if you even went up next to a zombie that was on the ground, it would just grab you.
Yeah. Yeah, the first one I really encountered is that guy that gets ripped in half.
Yes.
At the beginning, pretty much. And yeah, you could it's in a tight, small little office, and you can just walk right over him pretty much, and as long as he's not looking right at you, he won't grab you.
Yeah. I will say I am disappointed that when the zombies grab you, you don't kick off their head. Like, what you used to do in the original, like they grab you and no matter what, you'd kick off their head and they were dead. Where this one, you just shake them off and they're still alive. It's like, fuck.
Yeah.
I got to shoot them still. And I got bit.
Yeah, it's a bit of a game, especially when you're playing, like, that makes it feel more like a hardcore mode, right? Like, you're just like, I'm good with my shots. I'm not wasting a lot. I got rid of the handgun stock almost as soon as I picked it up, because it does, like, you can hold it and do like 3 shots, and I was like, wow, that's really not necessary, especially at this point in the game. So I don't know. I haven't had much problem with ammo after the first boss. I was a little low.
Yep.
I had quite a lot before then, and then he takes a lot. So so for a little while after that, I had to conserve more. For the most part, I've been killing just about anything I come across, but there's been a couple where I'm like, well, I don't need to come back down this hallway, so as long as I can get away from these guys. Like, I killed, I think, 3 lickers up to the point where I'm at. I just got to the sewers about a couple hours before we recorded this, a little bit into there, but yeah, I killed 3 lickers and just ran away from one.
Yeah, I think most the lickers that were in the police station I mostly ran by, which is kind of annoying because they're super aggressive and they're really fast if you run. Now I did come across a note that says that if you walk slowly and you don't fire your gun, they won't be able to track you.
Mm-hmm.
But every time I've entered a room with a licker, they instantly hiss at me and start coming at me. So I'm like, fuck, and I just run away instead of trying to test out if I can just like slowly walk past them and stuff.
Yeah, I guess right now is the best time to mention that I don't know why I've got this like self-imposed perfectionist thing for some reason, where I'm just going no damage. If I take any damage whatsoever, I reload my save, and I've done it up to points where I've like had to redo like 40-minute play sections because I'm like, shit, because I'm also not saving very much. I'm just saving when I do something I consider significant. I think as far as the sewers goes, to where I just saved pretty much just because I had to stop playing. I'm at 12 saves, so it was just like, shit. Once in a while it auto saves too.
Yeah.
But so that saved me.
Oh, sure.
Over an hour a couple times, especially when it comes to liquors, and the boss wasn't hard at all. It was just he took a lot. He was a sponge. But the liquors, trying to go no damage for them, you got to be a pretty good tactic going. As long as you got a flash grenade and shotgun, you're pretty much good to go with those guys, though.
Yeah.
But they like to randomly pop a hit off at you too, so you're just like, damn it. And then there's Mr. X.
Yes, X, go and give it to you. I think it's I particularly find Mr. X entertaining right now because there's like an entire like couple generations of people who never played Resident Evil and they didn't know about Mr. X. So that's and cool. I will say for anybody who hasn't played yet, just skip ahead like a minute because this is kind of like a little spoiler, I guess. I mean, we're talking about Mr. X of a game that's 20 years old, but I am disappointed that they don't exclusively or explicitly show you how he gets there. Because in the original, they show the helicopter and they don't just
they drop him off in the street outside, don't they?
Yeah, it drops him off, and then I think, so I only did when I just replayed 2 a couple weeks ago. I only did the first playthrough, and then it was the second playthrough where they give you more of that. So I don't remember exactly. I know there was they drop him off. There was a helicopter, and they drop him through from a canister, but then also the helicopter crashes is related to that. Is related to Mr. X, and I don't remember exactly what that was about. But they don't even show you that. In Remake, you're just going down a hallway, and you hear a helicopter and then a crash, and then later, like a little bit later, then Mr. X shows up in a couple like specific scenes for the first playthrough and the second playthrough.
Yeah, he's more of just a roadblock.
Well,
like, I remember in the old one, you're like, holy fuck, like he'd just be there,
mm-hmm.
And I'm playing with a headset, so you can kind of hear where he is most of the time.
Yeah,
and the sound in this game is amazing. The atmosphere, definitely play with like a headset or like a good surround or a soundbar or something, or you are doing yourself a great disservice.
Yes,
but I found when he was around, like a lot of the time I'd go, okay, he's in that room, like don't even go in there. And then other times I'd walk into a room and it's like, oh, there he is. Like you wouldn't even hear him coming. Usually that's like if you can't hear him, you're like, okay, I'm safe. Pretty basically. At least
he does just show up sometimes.
Yeah, you're like, damn it. You like go in a room and he's just downstairs and he just locks on. Basically he's a Terminator. He's like a melted Terminator.
Yeah. And I think the big difference, like if you look at some of the people talking about it on social media and stuff, and for me, it's most of the people I know have played the games or know all about it. It's more like I'm seeing people like commenting things, retweeting things, and I think it's for us, we know what to expect,
Mm-hmm.
and we've done this all before, so it's not as
shocking.
Yeah, it's not as intense and shocking when we know you see them, you just run, Well,
I accidentally saw something that had him in it, or I probably would have been like, holy shit, I forgot about this guy when I played it. Because it's been quite a while since I played 2. Well, at least that far into 2 where he shows up. Like I played it when it was new. I played it a couple of years after as well. And I've dabbled in the other versions as I picked them up since I started collecting.
Mm-hmm.
Like I played a couple hours of the GameCube one that I mentioned, and I played it a little bit on the N64 to see how did they do that? Like how did they get past the limitations that a cartridge version has? But I didn't really get super far into them. I was just kind of like,
and for the original, so like I said, just a couple weeks ago, I replayed. I just did Claire A, so just the first playthrough with Claire, and in the original game, you don't encounter Mr. X until the second playthrough, and that was kind of like one of the big differences. Where the remake, the differences between the first playthrough and the second playthrough aren't as significant from what it seems to me anyways. Where the first one, there's some pretty notable differences with the playthroughs, and it was primarily the encounters with Birkin and Mr. X, where Mr. X is now, and they're both kind of spread throughout.
Yeah, like I think it kind of like faded away into my memory, where I just remember being stalked by something and I was like, yeah, that's Resident Evil 3, where the nemesis is after you the whole time, and I'm like,
yeah.
I kind of forgot about him after like Nemesis, because Nemesis.
Yeah, that's like now a follow-up meme that I'm seeing is a lot of people are like, oh yeah, you think Mr. X is something, just wait until you meet the nemesis when they eventually remake 3.
Yeah, I can't wait to hear that in surround.
Yeah, fucking, it's basically Mr. X with a fucking rocket launcher.
Yeah, Mr. Triple X.
Yeah. And I will say, so I wasn't expecting to encounter Mr. X during my first playthrough, because I thought it was kind of doing the same thing that the first one, that Resident Evil 2 original did. So when I was playing through, and you go to the encounter when you come the other side of the hallway with the helicopter, and then he shows up that freaked me out for a second, because I wasn't expecting that. It's like, oh my fuck, turn and run.
Just calmly, well, my pants are shit.
Yeah.
And then
and I just loved how they did it. Like, you just walk up and then all of a sudden it's just, oop, he lifts up the helicopter and oh shit, there he is. Which
that was cool.
At the same time, it was really cool, but I am really, really disappointed that they just
locked him in there.
All they had to do is just the one little cutscene, just
with how much they went into the other ones, like they're just beautiful. Like every cutscene in this game is just like wow.
Yeah.
I hope this is what if this was what the movies were supposed to be?
Yeah. Yeah, and another thing I'm noticing, so I played through Claire first, but now that I played through Leon, unless they're just swapping, like it's the same, just different character depending on who you start with, it kind of seems like some of the information, the in-game lore, like notes you find, or even later in the game, like you'll find a couple like VHS tapes that you can watch. Like for me, it seems like the information I'm coming across in Leon, so it's basically Leon Second or Leon B.
Yeah.
Seems like it would have been more beneficial to give me that information during the first playthrough, because now I've played through one campaign completely. I played through Claire, and now I'm playing through a chunk of Leon, and they're finally explaining some very, like Mr. X. Like you don't find, there's no information about Mr. X pretty much whatsoever, almost until the end of the second campaign.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's kind of weird, because everything else is explained. The zombies are explained, the lickers are explained, the tyrants, Birkin is explained. But like Mr. X is this huge like mystery, and he almost seems out of place, kind of, just because they don't give you any sort of like introduction, a helicopter dropping him, or a note that says.
Yeah, it's almost like if it wasn't a remake, you'd almost think like they just decided to add him into the game last minute. like they were like, oh shit, you'd be cool if the Terminator also followed you through the zombie apocalypse. They just did that.
Yeah, and then the other thing I was disappointed about was, as far as I know, no Brad Vickers.
Yeah.
So in the original Resident Evil, if you basically kind of done a speed run of the initial like streets,
and you didn't pick anything up,
you didn't pick up anything up, and you get to the police station, there would be a Brad Vickers zombie, which was one of the STARS members, and you can kill him. You can get a key to get like the unlockable bonus outfits and extra guns. Where I got the collector's edition, which came with the deluxe, so they just give you those items when you get to your storage.
Yeah. I was a bit disappointed with mine, as you know. I bought the deluxe edition. I made it a point to go across the border, pick up my mail on Friday when it came out, so I could have it reloaded or preloaded. So when I got home that night from work, I could play a couple hours. And turned on my Xbox, had the disc in my hand. After the Xbox symbol goes away when it comes on, it just goes Resident Evil, ready to start. Resident Evil Deluxe Edition content, ready to go. I'm like, cool. So I just bought this for a shelf piece because my friend and I game share, and he obviously bought the Deluxe Edition. And I was like, awesome. So I was pretty bummed about that. I mean, I got the discount when Amazon still had it, but it still stunk. I would have just waited and got a physical copy for like $20 or something when they went cheap, since I can essentially play it. But I made it. So I ended up selling my deluxe edition to my friend, and then I had another copy given to me like the next day. And I'm like, I am meant to just have a physical copy of this game. So I traded the standard edition that I got the next day with my friend that I sold it at, so I could just have my deluxe edition case back.
Mhm.
And I'm just giving up. All right, I got it. So I made it a point to delete the downloaded one and use my disc to feel like there's a point to it.
Sure.
But yeah, it's so far I think I'm going to do another playthrough, but I haven't switched the soundtrack at all.
Yeah, I'm not gonna do the soundtrack switch just because
I want to do it as they envision it, basically, is what
Yeah.
I'm thinking. And interestingly enough, in a couple of weeks, I think alongside the add-on that they're planning, the Ghost Survivors, we're going to get retro outfits, basically blocky PS1 sprites.
well,
to
and they're
and I'm
actually
like, I'll probably use those outfits and do a playthrough with that and just
oh sure.
do kind of like semi old school version.
And those throwback outfits, they're actually like way higher res than what they are in the game.
Yeah,
Like way higher res.
yeah, they're probably GameCube. they're not perfect like the ones for the game. I don't know, I haven't really seen much of them, but they're slightly blocky looking, aren't they?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But nowhere like they were. Like it was funny because like so with me just replaying it, it had been some years since I had played Resident Evil 2 last. I did watch like a month or two ago. Me and Justin did a hangout, and he played a bunch of Resident Evil 2. So I saw some things, but I wasn't really paying attention.
Because it was like groundbreaking. It was like amazing looking back in the day.
Yeah, and honestly, I still think it looks great. Blah 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 doesn't hold up arguments, whatever, yada yada. I think it still looked great, but I will say that from what my memory had served me for, and then when I saw what Claire and Leon actually looked like, I was like, oh wow, they're a lot lower resolution than what I remember. Like Claire's face was basically like a few squares with a couple dark squares, and then her hair was some other squares. I was like, oh, okay, awesome.
But even then, though, back then you were probably like, oh man, she's hot.
Just fill in the blanks, you fill in the blanks.
Well, yeah, because that's exactly what you do back in the day. Like, especially when you'd see especially when like the first one had the live action cutscenes,
Yes,
stuff like that, and like you see in the George Romero back in the day did the commercial for Resident Evil 2, so that was, you kind of get a representation from there, or like game art. So
yes.
you kind of superimpose that with your mind onto the characters.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, even the old games, like 8-bit games and stuff, you kind of see what they look on the cover, and they look actually nothing like that on the screen. But in your mind, you're like, that's the same thing.
Yeah.
So, yeah, exactly. That's what a lot of people don't kind of consider when they look back on stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, as far as that goes, even the first remastered thing I really played was when they remastered the first Halo. I think it was Halo Anniversary it was called.
Sure.
For the 360. I was like, so they didn't even do anything with this. It looks just as good as it did. But then there was like you push like the back button.
Yeah.
And it would switch to like the old thing. You're like, oh, yeah, never mind. Like in my mind, it was like nothing has changed. This is exactly how it looked. Like they didn't do anything. They just put it out again. And then I pushed the back button. I'm just, oh man, this is so drab looking. So yeah, that's exactly kind of the same feeling. You're like, oh, I remember it looking a lot better than it does.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I guess before we move on to some other Resident Evil news, I guess kind of like initial final thoughts about the remake at this point. So I haven't completed it. I'm gonna do the fourth survivor, which is awesome. Now just by completing the game, doing the first and second playthroughs, then they unlock the fourth survivor, which is basically the Hunk playthrough. Hunk was one of the SWAT team members that was shown in the cutscene in the original game. He's the one who kind of went after Birkin.
Mm-hmm.
So his mode gets unlocked without any extra crazy criteria, because before you had to beat the game, and I think you had to play like Claire A, Leon B, Leon A, Claire B, and you had to get S ranks in order to unlock Hunk or something. Or maybe that was Tofu.
Now it's just like survive and you can have it.
Yeah. And then once you finish his, then you get Tofu, which is great. I love that they included those unlockables in this, which they're just bonus modes.
What's that?
I think I'm assuming they're a little different. I don't know how the modes are presented in the remake, where the second, in the original, it was just like, basically you get from this point in the police department to this point. And with Tofu, like, you only got a knife. And like, I think there was a time limit or something too. And it was just like full of zombies, like obscene amounts of zombies, like just ridiculously hard.
Well,
so
one thing that kind of sucks is they got rid of like the fun things for doing certain requirements, like the infinite ammo and all that.
Yes.
It was like, I kind of miss, I'm not saying I didn't use cheats to ever beat a game, but I always liked unlocking cheats after you've already thoroughly beaten a game. It keeps it fun. Like,
oh, so they don't have any of that stuff, huh?
From what I've heard, no, none of that. Like, infinite. Yeah, apparently not. I hope I'm wrong, but yeah, from as far as I've heard, that there isn't that kind of stuff, which is a real bummer. Like,
yeah, that is a bummer.
That's a real dying thing. Like in single player games, I don't think it really hurts anything. I mean, it hurts. Like, they should do it the way they did it last gen, when they still had some cheats in games, or if you use cheats, you couldn't unlock, achievements or trophies. You couldn't save a lot of the time. Just that's fine, but it was always fun to like beat, especially like a shooter game, or one that's got really limited ammo like this. To just go back through and basically be Rambo with infinite ammo and just take out everything. Like, oh, I remember last time I only had 2 shots and couldn't take you out, and you just blow it, like, clear.
Yeah, you get the rocket launcher.
Yeah, like
the 4-barrel rocket launcher.
Yeah, exactly. Like, that's, I don't know, that was just half the fun. It was almost like your reward for suffering through the hard parts or something. But now it's meh. Like, barely any games have anything like that anymore.
Yeah. I definitely, I hope that they do decide to proceed maybe with more remakes. Resident Evil 3 is fantastic. Code Veronica, man, I hope, I would love for them to redo Code Veronica, because that's one of my favorite Resident Evil games. Definitely. Second favorite to Resident Evil 2.
I would absolutely want 3, because if they do 3, that will make it possible to own all 8 mainline entries on one console.
Oh yeah,
and I would love that. As it is, that's the only one I'm missing. I have, I'd prefer to have them on PlayStation, but I picked up 5 and 6 cheap, and I don't intend to pick up 5 and 6 again.
Sure.
Unless they do some kind of sexy box set. But I have 0 and 1, 2 now. I have 4, 5, and 6 that they put out separately. I originally got 7 really cheap, only like a month after it came out on the Xbox. But I also, when I got my PSVR, got it for PS4. So yeah, if they did a box set, I probably would buy the PlayStation 4 box set just to have them all on there. Because as far as, I mean, and they're fine on both systems. There's no real play difference, but it just feels more right on a PlayStation.
Yeah, for sure. And then I guess the only other kind of thought I have right now is I am so happy we have survival horror back. Like, it feels like it's been a long time, and I love survival horror.
And it's pretty bad that they've got to basically remake the classic good ones, because they can't seem to think of, like, I mean,
7 was solid. Like, I really enjoyed 7. Like, it could have been, there's some elements it could have been a little better. Like,
it was a return to form for sure, though.
Yeah. and this is great. I want more survival horror. Let's remake Dino Crisis maybe.
That's what I was gonna say. If they're gonna
consider maybe revisiting, well, Konami, I don't know about Konami.
Konami's not going to do. Well, I mean, they scrapped the most promising Silent Hill ever. for no apparent reason. So I don't know. I really wish Konami would do something with Silent Hill, because
But maybe
as it actually stands, I'd actually have to say I like Silent Hill more than I like Resident Evil overall.
Yeah, sure.
I probably like Resident Evil 2 more than at least most of the Silent Hill games, if not all of them. 1 and 2 are really, really solid for
2 and 3. Well, 1, 2, and 3, I would say.
Yeah.
2 and 3 are my favorite Silent Hills.
Yeah.
For
I
sure.
really liked the first one too. I mean, that's like,
yeah, no, it's awesome.
but yeah, I don't know. I think it's just because enough bad Resident Evils have come out that I can't definitively like Resident Evil more. But I guess altogether, there's probably more Resident Evil games that I do like. But I just I liked the. I mean, as far as zombies goes, Resident Evil series is probably the best you're gonna get. That Left 4 Dead are the only the top 2 I can think of. Zombies Ate My Neighbors, if you're gonna go old school. But yeah, I don't know. I just as far as random creepy horror, I guess I would go with Silent Hill.
Sure.
But yeah, as far as I got no disappointments. Like I said, some people are really disappointed there's no tank controls and stuff like that, and wish you could turn that on and off. I don't hate tank controls, but I'm not married to them in the same sense that some people are.
And I just replayed Resident Evil 2.
Yeah,
I'm a fan. I never had any problems with tank controls.
Yeah, it's just an adjustment, honestly. It's just an adjustment.
And they were just fine. And I don't need the remake to have tank controls. Like, the remake controls are great. Like,
yeah, exactly.
They made the right choices. Like, tank controls were they had the
product of their time. Yeah, product of their time. That was before, because when they started making Resident Evil, there was no DualShock yet, so it was literally just the
one static camera angles too.
Yeah, that would have made it horrible if it was like following camera and tank controls. That would have actually been shit. I think, but they're just like a product of their time. Like, I don't think new games need them, but I don't hate them when I go back and play games that had them.
Yeah,
like Dino Crisis and Resident Evil, and I think the older Silent Hills even had them, didn't they?
Yep.
Yeah. So I don't know.
Yes, sir.
It was just another part of the survival.
Yeah.
Adapt or die.
Right. So any other thoughts on Resident Evil 2 before we move on?
No, I'll have some more follow-up thoughts next time, because I picked Leon first, and I'm probably 2/3 of the way through his, because like I said, I put that self-imposed perfection thing on myself.
Yeah.
Honestly, I have no idea why. I might just scrap it and enjoy the game more, probably. But yeah, so far I don't think I have any complaints except for minimal gripes, like the bullet sponge zombies that are very random.
Yeah. Cool. All right, so we got some good news that, more content, I guess, is good news. DLC is it is what it is. I wish they would just,
It's free, so I'm not complaining at all.
Oh, it is free.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So yeah, there is some DLC announced for Resident Evil 2 Remake. It's called The Ghost Survivors, and it is 3 mini campaigns. Basically, it's the gun shop owner, a soldier, and the mayor's daughter.
That didn't make it out, so you kind of find out what happens to them. It sounds really intriguing.
Yeah. Another interesting change is, she didn't really play a role in Resident Evil 2, but she was specifically referenced, and there's a conversation had over her dead body where it's a little less in this one, but hey, more content is great. So that's pretty neat. Yeah, especially free.
I'm not just trying to EA us and get some microtransactions. Oh, you want some more bullets?
Yeah.
Go to the bullet vending machine.
Yeah. Yes. Thanks. Good on you, Capcom, for not
Here,
going that far.
are you enjoying it? Hey, why don't you just enjoy some more of it? All right, how much is this going to be? Just enjoy it. Oh, yeah. Oh, thanks.
And then I think with everybody's anticipation of the game, there's been like a lot of renewed interest in the possibility of Resident Evil TV and movies being revisited, and we're getting more information about a Resident Evil Netflix.
Yes, I'm excited, especially with Netflix's track record with video game stuff. Castlevania.
Yes.
They're pursuing a live action Resident Evil. As far as Netflix goes, they're like my favorite producers right now. Like they make. I just finished watching, Castlevania. Couple other series they've done, and like the Daredevil and Punisher, and what they're doing with the Marvel stuff. I'm a huge fan of it. So they seem to just take good risks, and they make good decisions. They're not out just to make money like a lot of the movies. Video games seem to just be cheap cash-ins.
Cheap cash-ins that aren't trying to make money, because if they really wanted to make money, they'd make them good, and then everybody would want to watch them.
Well, yeah, that's what you would think, but speaking of EA, that's how they seem to do with their game. They're like, oh, don't make the game good, just make the game profitable.
Right.
You know how that works out really well. Looking at Star Wars Battlefront 2, that I just picked up 3 copies of brand new for $2 the other day at Walmart. Yeah, it did really well for you guys, which is a real shame because, as I said before, when I was co-host before and I've been playing it, it's actually a really solid game, and they've been adding a shit ton of it onto it for free. But it's like the damage is done because of word got around about EAing. So it is what it is. I'll have some friends getting some cheap free games, but I'm thinking that as I kind of went off topic, but I think they're gonna do a good job with Resident Evil because they got the guy who is actually in charge of a couple of the CG movies working on it.
Yeah, those are great.
Yeah, those are like my favorite representations of Resident Evil. Like the movies were all right for what they were. They weren't
gross.
Like some of them they were really hit and miss. Honestly, I think I liked the first 2.
Yeah, the first 2 were okay.
The third, they just got schlocky.
Yeah,
and then they started almost trying to be more like the video game, but it was like so far outside of what they'd already done with the movies that I couldn't even follow it. I was like, is this a sequel to the last movie or the last game?
Mm.
I don't even think I watched the last Mila Jovovich one. I just, after the one where she had like something like stuck to her chest, I don't know, it was like a bomb. I watched it once and I barely paid attention. I think I was on my phone more than because every time I looked up, I was just like, ugh.
Yep.
But yeah, they. I don't know. I can't even say they were watchable in like a Michael Bay Transformers thing. We're like, oh, action is happening.
Mm.
You're just like, what is happening?
Yeah.
But yeah, like I said, I like the first 2. I think I liked as their own thing, but none of them were close to as awesome as even the shittiest game. So that's that. So
yeah.
But like I said, with Netflix's track record, I actually have faith that this is going to be a pretty sick show to watch because they don't have to worry about ratings and stuff either. So they don't have to get it, rated G zombie show to go on TBS or something.
Yeah.
So yeah, I have a lot of faith in them.
Cool. All right, so we are going to move into the community question. Last week, Justin left us with the question of who is your video game waifu / husbando? For those who might have not heard or what that is, basically it's like, who is your video game crush, male or female? No judgments here. So, Justin, since it was his last episode, he decided just to give us the answer, which I already knew. It being Tifa Lockhart from Final Fantasy VII.
I've only known him a little while. Even I knew what it was going to be.
But we did get some community comments. So, Down Phoenix says, as far as waifu, he thinks Justin will like this one. And then he says, Yang's wife, which I think is a Suikoden reference.
I think so, yeah.
I'm not 100% on that one.
Ying? I think it, Yang. I know there's a couple of characters named Yang. But I think that's Suikoden.
And then, I know I had another. I thought BioPhoenix had left one, but I'm not seeing. I'll keep going through my list here. Let's see. Then we got Musty Hobbit. Second breakfast says waifu is going to have to go with Renoa from Final Fantasy VIII, but Celeste and Terra were pretty close on her heels.
Sweet.
Then, sorry, I didn't have my shit together as per usual.
Were you too busy thinking of your wife?
Yeah, do that. The Retro Bro says, as far as waifu, it has to be Cammy. Nothing better than a smoking blonde with her ass hanging out who can whoop some ass. Alpha women for alpha males.
Street Fighter.
Yeah. Why am I swear BioPhoenix left a comment and he had said there's two sisters in Soul Calibur.
Yeah, I can't think of. I was just thinking like Soul Calibur is like rife with crushable waifus.
Yeah.
I can't remember their names offhand, even with how much I like Soul Calibur. Damn it.
Yeah, I don't know why I'm not seeing the comment here. I'm looking at the right podcast. I'm not seeing it. Well, I apologize, but yeah, I'm missing that one unless I'm just getting my information mixed up or I'm unable to read. But yeah, so waifus. So I thought long and hard on this one. A lot of people would be like, well, come on, it's obvious it'd be Shantae. And it's like, yeah, sure. Shantae could be a waifu, but I wanted to give some honorable mentions out there as well because, there's lots of great waifus. Tali-Zora from Mass Effect. She's a top tier waifu. She's like, bro level waifu, the way I saw it.
Yeah.
I thought she was awesome.
It was Cassandra and Sophidia in Soul
yes,
wasn't it?
Yes, I think.
Yeah, I cheated a bit, but it was bugging me.
Yeah, for sure. Some other waifus just kind of in relation. Like I was thinking of, I went to Final Fantasy VI. I know Musty says Renoa over Terra and Celeste, but Terra and Celeste from the Final Fantasy series and Tifa too, all great, awesome characters. Lara Croft, one of my favorites, and then of course Claire, Resident Evil. Like there's lots of awesome, not even just like waifu. We're not saying I'm just reducing them to wife material, but more so like just badass female leads in some of these games.
Yeah. I mean, if they're in a game, they're probably a badass. Unless it's like someone you're saving constantly.
Yeah.
Like, Natalia from GoldenEye.
Yeah.
No one picks Natalia from GoldenEye.
Right. So, what do you got? Do you got a waifu? Who's your waifu?
What do you mean waifu? Husbando.
Who's your husbando?
Well, Dante from Devil May Cry.
It's not Kratos?
No, I don't like bald men. I mean that beard. That beard, though.
Yeah.
But yeah, my waifu, I was thinking about it, and I'm like, oh, there's plenty of hot women on games, but I guess I'll go with Velvet Crow from Tales of Berseria.
Good pick.
Pretty badass.
Yep.
And just like I don't know, I just liked her as a character.
Yeah, she's awesome.
So that's what I'll go with.
Cool. I respect your choice.
Cool.
Yeah. Yeah, so being a poor podcast host that I am, I did not prepare a community question for next week.
What?
So.
What? Okay, well, we could just go with what's, besides Resident Evil 2, what's your favorite Resident Evil game? Since that was the majority of our talk this time.
Dig it. Yes. So for next week, let us know, besides Resident Evil 2, what is your favorite Resident Evil game?
Yeah.
So then real quick, I know we kind of last episode we really focused on upcoming games for quarter one, but just sticking to format, just want to give some shout outs to some games being released in the next couple weeks here. Yeah, so I guess I'll just, even though I actually edited out a 15-minute kind of rant section from the last episode of me just saying I didn't like Kingdom Hearts and Justin telling me to back up my opinion when I couldn't. So I just want to mention that, yeah, Kingdom Hearts got released.
Yeah. Well, speaking of Kingdom Hearts,
mm-hmm.
The latest Jimquisition episode from Jim Sterling about Kingdom Hearts is, I think, my favorite video of his that I've ever watched.
That's a pretty good one.
And that's coming from someone, I don't hate Kingdom Hearts,
mm-hmm.
but fight me on it. Think, what is a more convoluted...
Yeah. Resident Evil would be the other...
Convoluted.
It's up there. But I
can play a Resident Evil game and I'll go, what? Except for with unless it's like Operation Raccoon City, and
the story is not like
me saying what is a totally different.
Yeah, the narrative isn't the focus necessarily.
Yeah, the game in itself is almost a mystery. The characters don't know a lot of the time what the hell is happening. But yeah, you can't just play 1, 2, and then go into 3 and just.
Yeah, you got to play them all, basically.
Yeah, I could talk at length about it, but Jim basically nails my exact opinions on it. Is that they had lightning in a bottle when they came up with the idea. Like, not everyone's into Disney, not everyone's into Final Fantasy, but most people are into at least one of those. Mm-hmm. And the potential for those games was astronomical.
Yeah.
But it's just what they did with it. There's so many convoluted side stories, and you didn't play the mobile game, so you don't know this little bit of lore that is a key point in this game for some reason. I think they just over-gummed it up to what it needed to be. It could have just been like a Final Fantasy game, and every game could have they could have had all these side games that could have just been a different thing on its own, like side characters, like different Final Fantasy games. But they tried to make it all part of one big arc, which turned it into one big shattered all over the place. You have to play all the games to know what the fuck this guy is talking about.
Yep. So, well, I'd say people can go and watch Jim's video and kind of see what we're talking about.
Yeah, definitely. Have you checked it out yet?
Yeah, I watched it.
Yeah, so I I don't know. He had me laughing more than I think I've ever laughed at his videos before. It was spot on, and it's like coming from someone who I'm pretty interested in. Like I played the first one quite a lot. I don't know if I beat it. I enjoyed it. I played the second one, and even going into the second one, you're like, wait, what?
Yeah.
Oh well, whatever. It's fun to play. So basically, you have to just go in not wanting a story.
Sure.
Just going in for the fun of the gameplay. So don't read too much. Yeah, sorry.
One game that I want people to go check out if you haven't heard of this game and you are a Switch owner. It's called Dragon Marked for Death, and this is an Inti Creates platformer. I'm not sure exactly if it's a Metroidvania or if it's just a platformer, but it looks awesome. This is one of the games that I kind of wish I had a Switch because it looks sweet. It's called Dragon Marked for Death, and that actually is released on the 31st January.
So tomorrow
check it out.
I will.
Yeah. And then we have
Switches for everybody.
Yes.
Especially if you don't have a Wii U.
I don't know what this means. This list could be incorrect. I'm not sure. There's a little notation here that I don't know what it means, but it looks like God Eater 3 is being released in a week and a half. I've been hearing some people talking about that, saying that they were excited for that.
It seems like a cool series. I've got the first one. I got it for like it was only like $3 or something on a PlayStation Store sale a while ago. So I grabbed it because I've never seen a physical copy of the first one, and I got the second one. I can't remember if it was a gift or I got it really cheap at Walmart, and I think it was a gift. And yeah, they look pretty cool, pretty different.
Yeah. So, I mean, this is kind of like the slower point of the year, but all the notable games were just released or will be getting mentioned in the next episode. So
you mean like games like Senran Kagura Burst Renewal?
Sure.
The big games? Oh, you mean Resident Evil?
Yeah. Resident Evil, Kingdom Hearts.
Yeah.
There's some other stuff.
I picked it up, but I wasn't hyped on it. Like the way I guess the people who have been playing every single game must have been like super hyped. I was just like, I should be hyped for that.
Yeah. Whatever.
But I think the girls wanted to play it, so they saw and while they're watching YouTube videos, a bunch of things came up, and they asked me what it was, and I'm like, come downstairs, I have a tale for you. I've probably got half of those. So I was like, here's some. Want to try them?
Well, there you go. You're going to be busy.
Plenty of game obsession.
Speaking of being busy, what do you got coming up in the next couple weeks?
Well, immediate future, I'll be finishing off Resident Evil 2.
What?
And then I'm going to go back to Fist of the North Star because I started that right after it came out, probably about 2 weeks after it came out. I was obsessed with finding it, especially after Chris, the old ass retro gamer, told me it's Fist of the North Star Yakuza. I'm like, Yakuza what? And I became obsessed with finding it on my trip out of town, and then I found it. And yeah, I've been loving it. It's as lovable as any of the Yakuza games I've tried so far.
Sweet.
And it's different enough that it doesn't just feel like a ripoff of it.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I've heard mostly just good things about it.
Yeah, I'm not super up on the anime of it. Like, I've seen the movie. I know there's like the show and all that stuff. I haven't delved too deep into it, but I'm loving the story of it so far. So I think that's actually a good thing that I don't know the anime, because maybe if I knew the anime, I'd be like, oh, the story in this one is shit. It's nothing like the anime or the manga or anything. Besides that, I want to have a couple of VR nights and catch up on a bunch of the new VR games I got as of late. So the thing with the VR is I love it, but I have to basically set aside a night where I'm like, I'm going to play this. Because it's, I have to have earphones in and shit. And I don't want my wife to be like, hey, the kids have been up. What are you doing down here?
Yeah.
I'm sitting there swinging my arms around, playing whatever. So, yeah, that's pretty much what I got going on. I'll probably dabble in a bit of Battlefield. I've actually went outside my wheelhouse of games I usually play, and I actually picked up Forza Horizon 4 on Chris the Old Ass Retro Gamer's recommend, and I have not touched a Forza game since Forza 2 came with my Xbox 360, and I drove one lap and went, oh, so it's like Xbox Gran Turismo. No thanks. And never entered my Xbox again. But him telling me that it was a lot like the Burnout games, Paradise and stuff. While I do see definite elements of it, it's definitely more of the realistic driving, but I actually have been having a blast with it. So I'm probably going to do a couple more things in that and call it quits on that, because I've been playing a lot of that. That's something I forgot to mention. And for Christmas, I got one of those double arcade stick plug-in plays with 1,300 games loaded on it, and I've been playing the shit out of that. And I think I'll continue to play the shit out of that. Awesome. I think I beat about 12 games on it so far, and I'm loving it from what I've played. I haven't had any hiccups or problems with the emulation on it. I've actually heard that there's a few games there are problems with. I haven't run across any yet, and I hope to not. But yeah, it was a great purchase as far as I'm concerned.
Sweet.
Just it definitely beats up the beaten games amount. For sure. When you can play like maybe like an hour and a half, you can plow through most of these games. Mm-hmm. So it's good when you got limited game time to feel like you're actually accomplishing something, rather than some games taking weeks or a month.
Yeah.
So that's what I got going on.
Awesome.
What are you doing?
So of course I will be also finishing up Resident Evil 2. Can't imagine it's going to take me a whole lot longer. So pretty much once I decide to move on from Resident Evil 2, it's going to be back to Spider-Man, finishing that up. I do also want to start trying to get back to some more VR games, because I was knocking out some games there, and ever since really I've started like Spider-Man, and I haven't really been playing much VR besides Beat Saber. So I think probably next VR game I'll probably play will most likely be Job Simulator.
Cool.
So,
well, I mean, you had to hunt pretty good for that one to find it at not astronomical price.
Yes.
I'm glad you found it. I was lucky enough, like right when I got my VR, it was like going cheap at Walmart. They like, maybe at that point is when they were clearing out of the VR crap, because that's, like I said, they only have like one game there. It must have showed up by accident.
Yeah.
So I have yet to play it as well, though. So that's the thing. That's what I mean. I gotta get some, because I find I'll like play a couple, but then I'll get really stuck on one, and I'll play it for like a couple hours. Mm-hmm. Thankfully, a lot of the games are only a couple hours long. But it seems like the ones you want to be short will go on forever, and the ones you want to go on longer are really short.
Yep.
But that's I'm hearing you on the VR. I definitely need to set aside some solid time. Like I'll just do a week where that's all I play.
Yeah. So besides that, and then as I said earlier, everybody can hopefully look forward to part 2 of the games I finished in 2018 video, which will be the rest of the games. It's only a two-part video plan. So yes.
Yeah, I mean, you split it right down the middle, so
pretty much.
We want to hear those last few.
Yes. So then, with that said, I'm going to let everybody know how they can get a hold of us. Of course, the podcast is hosted on YouTube, SoundCloud as well. If you use a podcast app, just look us up, the Game Tenants Podcast, and you will find us. And we're also on iTunes. Then if you want to get a hold of me, you can look me up on YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Just look up the Game Grinder and you will find me. And if you want to find Jason, go ahead and look up on
Facebook. My phone number is mainly Facebook. Look up Corpse Flood Gaming, or check out my channel.
Yes,
I've got a bunch of videos on there, and hopefully soon I'll be adding some.
Yes. So yes, that is how you can get a hold of us. Of course, answer that community question, hit us up, and I think that's going to do it for this episode.
Hopefully no one's rolling their eyes that I'm back. I'm happy to be back. So
it's nice to have you back, and I'm glad that you were able to join in.
Absolutely.
Again. Yeah.
I'm gonna miss listening to Justin on here though. It was you guys had a good back and forth. I really enjoyed.
Yeah, and then hopefully we'll have Justin on again.
Anytime. Yeah, I love talking to that guy.
Yes. In fact, this weekend, me and Justin are doing a weekend hangout. He's gonna stay the weekend, and we're just gonna play a lot of video games and hang out while we do it. So
that's how you gotta do it.
Good times. So yeah, so that is going to do it for this episode of the Game Tenants Podcast. As always, thank you very much for listening, and we will talk to you next time.
Goodbye.
Peace.